Yeah.
So on Friday, we had a session regarding the company information, localized settings, and also the localized settings in user also, right?
Mm. Mm. Yeah.
So today I tried changing few things in company information and user also, a user page also. Like whenever we change locally settings, the language and the time zone in company information and user page, then it is reflecting in both old accounts and new accounts, like old records and new records also. And whenever we change only in user, it is changing both in old records and new records. But if at all, if we are not changing in company information and changing only in user level, then it is changing in all the old records and new records. But if we don't change in user and change only in company information, then it's not changing in old records and new records.
Because when you change in company information page, it will reflect only for new user, not for existing user.
I tried in that way also.
What?
So whenever I change in company information, whenever I don't change anything in company information, and whenever I change only in user page, like then everything in old records and new records, it is getting changed.
Yeah, you are keep repeating the same thing. Yeah. When you change your user page, it will reflect both all your records, it will be reflected. When you change in
Yeah.
company information, company page, it will reflect only for the new user, not for the existing user.
It is not reflecting for anything.
Yes. It won't reflect. It only reflect in new user. Whoever user you are creating, that they will inherit the settings from company information page. Then it will be reflected. You get it? Company information page is a common setup. Every new user will inherit the settings from the company information page.
Yeah, for the first time, whenever we create our
Hmm.
org and whenever we give the details in company information, those details will be inherited by the user from company information. But like, but further on, when we change any settings in user page, without changing any
Hey,
changes in company information, then it is
what,
not
what?
getting changed.
Yeah. That's how it works. No, that's a very common thing, right? See, you create Gmail. Google has some settings like a white background, blue highlighting uh, theme, and for inbox they're showing up in red background and white font, right? So when I sign up, I get all these stylings from Google settings, Google company information page. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. Then here I go to my setting and change the background, everything differently. Then what will happen? It will reflect in my page all over, right?
Yes.
Right. Then can you go and change Google company settings? The admin will do that. The admin will do that. When admin do that, why it will reflect in my page? Because I already became a separate user. That's it. There are certain things what they change will reflect here, but not the locally setting. Locally setting is will we have my own account. So whatever I do, it will reflect in my account only. Whatever they do, company information page, that will reflect in new user page only the first time. That's it.
Yeah,
If
for
they
the
don't
first time
change,
only. Yeah.
if they don't change, they will retain the same look and feel, time settings, everything. But
Yeah.
when Google change the company information page, that will not reflect here because I already changed my look and feel. That is specific to user.
Yeah. So, yeah, for the first time only, it is inheriting the changes from company information. For the next time, if at all, if I change in user level, then for the old records and new records, the changes are getting affected. But in company information, the old changes are being there.
Yeah, company front page is something for everyone needs some base. We need some base to create everything. So that is where you say the admin set up that beginning. What is the initial time zone, date, time, format, everything. So that you inherited. You keep it same or you change it. It is depends upon the user need.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And I just had a look at the code's content. Like, I think we did not go through sandboxes, right?
Say, relax, Lakshmi. Jansi, yeah? Jansi.
Yeah, yeah.
Relax. I go here and there. Sometimes we'll ship there, but that will be covered. Okay.
Okay, okay.
We cannot go
Yeah.
sometimes as per the order. What do you need?
Okay.
Order or knowledge? We need knowledge, right?
Knowledge. Yeah.
So I would cover anyway. I give that in content anyway.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, well, let's start. I'm late. I don't know whether others are joining or not, but anyhow, I started. Whoever number of whatever the number of candidates, I would anyhow I would. I'd like to complete this batch. I hope at least 2-3 candidates will add up. We'll see. Um, okay, let's go 1 or 2 days. We'll decide. Okay, we have seen certain basic things like uh, switch to classic and lightning and uh, who is user in the org. That I will cover today little bit. More detail we'll have to cover later, right after the environmental topic. And we have seen certain things in company information page. Like locally settings, right? We have seen certain things in company information page like locally settings, um, a currency, multiple currency, organization ID, and instance. Okay. And we have a system overview to track usage of your org. Okay. There are many usage here. Eventually, you will come to know all these, most of these items, what is being tracked here. Okay. So, like, how many number of objects you are allowed to create in developer edition, how many number of columns you can create in a table. Those things you will understand down the line, how to track here. But this is not the place where we usually frequently come and track. But you should know about this page, okay? Because as a developer or administrator, um, we allow super admin in some organization, right? So they will take care of it. But as a Salesforce professional, it is good to know where all these limits are being tracked. So it is in system overview. Okay. Right. Now, and we have seen app launcher, and these are our standard application. There are two jargons we have, right? Standard, custom. Standard, it means a predefined entity. It can be application, it can be object, it can be tab. Thing built already, defined by Salesforce, right? Provided by Salesforce. It is a standard one. Custom, what administrator or developer we do, it's referred as custom, right? So we have a custom tab, sorry, standard tab here. We can create custom tab also. We have standard application here. We can create our own custom application also. You get it? And we have object. You know what is object? I already introduced what is object.
Table,
Object
sir.
is table. Yeah, table in Salesforce is object. That's a term we'll use in Salesforce platform, to referring the table, right? How do you access the object data? How will you read the object data? Through a tab without using any um, any queries, or without creating something, an application to see the data. It is already it's already, there are features already built in Salesforce, like a tab. Using tab, I can see the existing data in the object. You get it? So through the tab, I can read the data. The tab has also certain controls, like the new button, so which is used to add a new data into the table, which means object, right? And there are certain terminology. Usually in the table, we'll say data or row, right? So here we refer it as record. How do you say record? Okay. So record is a term we'll use to refer a row in the table. And a column in a table, we refer as field. Field. What is this? Phone field, type field, name field. Okay. So field is a term we'll use to refer a column in a table. So record, field, row, column, isn't it? Okay. So be familiar with the term. Row, which means record, field, nothing but a column in a table, right? And environment, what we are registered currently is a production environment. Developer edition is a kind of production environment. So what is the importance of environment? What is the importance of environment? Environment is, let me open a doc. Hold on. Organization is nothing but, in short form, it's org. Otherwise, it's called your a login environment, right? So where do you log in now? Currently, I logged into developer edition. Currently, I logged into developer edition. So developer edition is a kind of production org. Production org. You take an example of say Flipkart. Okay, the Flipkart has is a e-commerce website, right? E-commerce site. So you see the Flipkart a few years back, it was different look and feel. There was less product categories, right? Now there are many, and look and feel is different. So they will keep adding more features, more categories to sustain in the market, right? To compete with their competitors. They would improve the site, covering many categories, and right, that's how every e-commerce site will do. But how they introduce the new features, how they introduce new features, will they deploy the new features, will they develop the new features, everything in the environment where the customers are access? No, right? They do all the development, testing. Suppose you like to introduce the new tab, introduce new category. For example, currently we have only option to use credit card and so and so. Suppose they would like to bring something, a new type of payment. You get it? So they will not introduce directly into the production org. Production org in the sense what? It's a live org where all the customers are engaged, right? So I open the Flipkart site, I buy the product, right? All of a sudden, if I'm seeing like there is something is going on, right, which is incomplete, the new payment method, right, the developer is working on the site, but which is incomplete. So that will impact the business, isn't it? So what will happen? The development and testing, anything, the new features they introduce, they will do it in a development environment. You get the point, all of you? All the new features, every every application, every product, they would do it in development environment. And depends upon the project business size, the application size. They will have different types of development environment, right? They would have dedicated test environment. They would have dedicated test environment, and even the test, they have different types of test environment. The test environment only for developer, the test environment only for users, right? Users means what? Like before they deploy into production or directly into the live org, they would like to test buying the product using that payment. I took an example, right? The new payment method, right? If they build that new payment method in the development environment, okay, the new payment method, they test it. They test it in test environment, and they test it in different developer org. Then they will test it into test like a user. So they will actually buy the product, place the order, and how that notification occurs and how the payment is done using gateway. They test everything. Then finally, they would also do some a production org like org, which is exactly similar to production org. How the live environment is going to be. Similar type of data will be there, right? In live environment, you are seeing millions of product. You will also see a production like org. It's not exactly production org. A production like org, you will see all the data what you are seeing in the live environment. Then finally everything goes fine. They will migrate to production, which means org, they are dedicated org. Like every product, like not just Salesforce. So in Salesforce, even we have different types of org apart from production org. Okay, so what we are currently having is production org, a developer edition, like a live environment. Of course, right? In real time, you will find the production org also to test. There won't be any difference. The difference will be there in login the environment. Okay. Normally, how will you log into production? Login.salesforce.com, isn't it? I told you initially. The test environment, like apart from production, the copy of production org. You can say the test environment is something like the copy of production org. Okay, I will explain what is copy of production org. Test.salesforce.com is the generic URL to access the test environment. The test environment, right? See, we can use it for testing or use it for development. We can use it for user acceptance testing, anything. But we generally refer it as test or sandbox environment, sandbox org. You get the point, all of you? Is that clear? You get it? It is called sandbox. Sandbox is nothing but a copy of, or instance of production org. an instance of production. You get the point? So suppose I have production org in real time, okay, where the customers are working, customers are engaged, okay, it's called production org. The production org has 10 objects. You get the point? The production org has got 10 objects and 5 applications, apps, and there are 100 users, okay, and it will have a suppose a 10 MB data, right? Each object will have some row, right? Records. So I'm saying like there are 10 MB data, or I just say 1 GB of data. Okay. Now, from the production org, I would like to add 2 more objects. I would like to add 2 more objects. You're not going to work on the production org directly, right? Because that's what I explained, isn't it? We should not do all the changes directly into production org. We have to do it in developer org and test it. Finally, we are migrating to production org. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes.
Able to follow? Logaram, Hari?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we are not supposed to add 2 objects. Suppose I like to add, my requirement is to add 2 new objects. Okay. And in the existing object, for example, object 1, I need to add 3 fields, right? 3 fields in the sense column. I cannot directly go and add in the existing object a new field. I cannot add two new objects directly into production org. So what you'll do, you need to add it into a sandbox org. Before working on sandbox, first thing, what is sandbox? Sandbox is the instance of production, which means what? The sandbox org is also in another org created from production org only. It is created from production org. How the sandbox org will be created? It will, you can create it from the setup. You will create it from the setup. So over here, you can access, you can access a section called deploy, right? So currently there are 2 options here: deployment settings, deployment status. Over here, you will also find a multiple options like sandbox and others, few more options. What is the use of that options? Using which we can just create a new org. We can just create a new org. That is how in real time we'll create this sandbox. But I would assure you, we are not going to create the sandboxes. It would have been already created, right? So we do not have that sandbox options in developer edition because we are in the trial version. Okay. In case if you like to see that option, we cannot create anyway, but you like to see that option, what we can do, we can go to Salesforce a trial org like enterprise edition or unlimited edition. Okay, you can sign up for say unlimited edition. Let me quickly see. I hope it will have that options. Okay. Normally, I would explain like this in theoretically, but let's see. Signing up first time. The trial version, I'm saying unlimited edition, just to show you. Okay, we'll see. So what will happen in this case? You'll get a new options over here in the settings, okay, environment, and from here the sandboxes can be created. Okay, so when you create the sandboxes, what will happen? It's still loading. Let it load. Like before, let me explain few things. Okay, so what will happen? The sandbox is created, and I name the sandbox, for example, as suppose my company writes something, Hippologic. Then I would say Hippologic test. Okay, I name the org as Hippologic test or test one. Once a sandbox org is created, you know what will happen? All these objects will be copied to this sandbox, which means the 10 objects, okay, 10 objects will be copied, 5 application will be copied, but not the data. The data are nothing but, the object data, the users. So those things will not be copied. Only the metadata. Metadata means what? The definitions, the configurations alone will get copied. Okay, so before I do any changes into sandbox, I need the objects, right? So how will you add a field? You need an object, existing object in your org, isn't it? Before you do any changes, suppose I would like to modify any screen, any UI, you need that UI here, right? Suppose I like to modify any application, or tab, I need that tab, right? Which means you need all the copy of the configurations into your developer org, into your sandbox. So what will happen when you create a sandbox? By default, all the metadata will be copied. You get the point? Clear? So before I do any new changes, both the orgs should be sync. Both the orgs should be same. So that will happen when you create a sandbox. Initially, when you create a sandbox, the metadata of production will be copied to the sandbox org. So sandbox is nothing but instance of production. It is a copy of production org only. But it's a separate org, which means you will log in into separate user ID password, right? But how the org will be created in real time? Normally, it will be created just by go to the developer, go to the deployment section, and you will find the sandbox option to create a new sandbox org. You can create n number of sandbox org. How many org you can create depends upon the edition we have. In unlimited, there are certain number of org you can create. In enterprise, the less number of org you can create. Sandbox org. You get the point? Depends upon the edition. The number of sandboxes will differ. Okay. So let's see whether trial org is created or not. Yeah, I verify. Okay. So these are all usual thing. Okay, now I'm into a trial version of unlimited edition, right? Okay, yeah. Now I'll go to the setup. I hope you'll find additional options now because it's exactly the unlimited edition, right? Bye. Oh, okay. It is in separate option. Yeah, sandboxes. You won't find this in your developer edition. You won't find this in your developer edition. So I just look for sandbox. I don't find this, isn't it? But you can find it in uh, the unlimited edition or enterprise. When you sign up, you will find it. So let's go here. Okay, I think there is some cooking. Yeah, it's blocked by browser. Okay, let's go to the classic. However, yeah, over the setup again, you have to look up sandbox. So you can see here, right? So what is showing up? The sandboxes are special organization that are used to test the changes, right? And I can create a new sandboxes by going with the option new sandbox. So how many sandbox I can create depends upon the edition you have. What type of edition I have? What type of edition is this? Unlimited edition. In unlimited edition, I can create a sandboxes. And among the sandboxes, we have types. Among the sandboxes, we have types. So what are the types of sandbox we have? Can you can you uh, can you list out by seeing the screen? What are the types of sandboxes we have?
Developer sandbox, developer pro sandbox, partial copy, and full copy.
Yes. So there are 4 types of sandbox we have. Depends upon the storage, right? The very basic thing depends upon the storage limit. The sandbox are differed. Obviously, you are seeing at the left side, developer sandbox, less storage. Developer Pro, I think similar storage. Partial copy, we have more storage. Full copy, exactly like production, right? If production has unlimited storage, full copy is also
The
unlimited storage.
screen, screen is not
Screen is visible,
visible.
isn't it?
Like
Others.
we are able to see the profiles.
Oh, hold on. Now,
Yeah, we can see.
okay, then I'll go from the beginning. Okay, what I did after signed up in unlimited edition, I go to home and setting, locate for sandbox. Now we have got the new option here because I'm into an actual unlimited edition now, but the trial version. Don't do any your practice in these are because you're not able to access after 30 days. Just to see.
So like to log into the unlimited edition, like trial.salesforce.com, we have to go into that site.
Yeah, from there you just go to the uh, product page and just take up the trial version. Sign up for the trial version. That's it.
Okay.
Correct. Okay. Now you are into sandbox. Go to sandbox option, and normally it will appear here, but due to I think it's a pop-up is being blocked here.
I think because of incognito mode, we are able to see in Salesforce Classic.
Might be. Don't need to spend the time here. Just I'll move to the classic interface. So over here in classic interface, the similar option you locate in the quick find box below the setup and go here. You'll see there are certain informations like types of sandboxes. And I said there are four types of sandboxes: a developer, pro, partial copy, full. Okay, and the sandboxes are differed basically by storage limit, right? Obviously, we have less storage in developer, more in developer pro, more than developer pro in partial copy, and exactly same as production. So in unlimited edition, how many sandboxes we can create? And in enterprise, how many sandboxes we can create? Okay, we have a tables, we can refer there. So I go to the L4 for this page. Okay. So sandbox types, isn't it? So down here, okay, I'll go to here. Okay. Yeah. So now we get the info, right? So there are four types of sandboxes: developer sandbox, pro, partial copy, and we normally say it's a full copy, full sandbox. Okay. Now in unlimited edition, you can create 100 developer sandbox and pro 5 and partial copy 1 and full copy 1. But you don't see such limits available, right? Because it's again a trial version, right? It's again a trial version of unlimited. Okay, right. Anyhow, uh, if you go for a pay version, right, then you will see unlimited edition as this limit. Okay, now this just to refer a number of sandboxes, depends upon the type, how many you can create. Now, how the sandboxes are differed? I said in terms of storage, isn't it? So developer sandbox, we have a 200 MB for data storage, 200 MB available for file storage. You know how much data storage is available for in developer edition? 5 MB for data storage, isn't it? So we have 200 MB for developer sandbox. Okay, and pro sandbox 1 GB. Of course, it's higher. Now, what are the other differences apart from storage? We have something called refresh interval. You know what is refresh interval? Right. In the beginning, I mentioned when you create a sandbox, all the configurations, right, which means definitions of the table, only the definitions like tables, field name, not the data, only configurations. It is also called metadata. You get the point, all of you? Metadata, not the data. The data about the data, which means name of the table, right? The type of the table. Like that, only the configurations, nothing but we refer it as metadata. So it is being copied when you create a sandbox. Metadata is being copied to the sandbox. Right. Now it is happened automatically when you create a sandbox, but we can also do this on demand, which means anytime I would like to take a fresh copy of all the production configuration. Anytime I can take all the fresh copy of production configuration into sandbox. Right. The reason, for example, sometimes due to priority, okay, on base of priority or need, sometimes they added some new application directly into production org. It is possible. Okay, it is possible. They add some new application directly into production org because we don't have a time limit to do all the changes and testing. It's quite urgent, a priority. They added new application into production org directly, which is not available in the sandbox now, right? How will you make sync? How will you sync the org? How will you make sure the both org are having similar configuration? How will you make sure that? There is a way there is a process called refresh. There is a process called refresh. Refreshing the sandbox. So what does it mean? What does it mean? Copy the metadata from production to sandbox. This process is called what? This process is called sandbox refresh. This process is called sandbox refresh. Refreshing the sandbox. You get it, all of you? You get it?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. This process is called sandbox reference. Now, I'm into developer sandbox. Example, I'm into developer sandbox. Okay. Take an example. Assume I am in a developer sandbox. I just refresh now. For example, 8 a.m. right? 8 a.m. I refresh the sandbox. Suppose 2 hours later, I would like to refresh it again. You cannot do that because the refresh interval for developer sandbox, you can only do once in a day. The refresh you can do only once in a day. You get it? You get it? So what is the interval? What is the interval of refresh? Depends upon the sandbox type. The developer flow, again 1 day. Partial copy, if you do it today, you can do it next refresh only 5 days after. 5 days later only you can do, right? The full copy, suppose you do it today, you have to wait for a month almost to do the next refresh. You get it? So the sandboxes are differed with respect to storage, with respect to refresh. Apart from that, the sandboxes, when you refresh the sandbox in Developer Pro, only the configurations are copied. In both the Developer and Developer Pro. In partial copy, you can, by default, metadata will be copied, which means only the configuration will be copied, and you are allowed to copy a sample data as well. You get the point, right? Which means what? If it is a partial copy, I can even copy certain number of data records also here. When? As part of refreshing. As part of refreshing process, normally what will be copied to the sandbox? Only the metadata, right? So, but in the case of developer copy, partial copy and full copy, I can copy the data. In full copy, I can copy all the data. In partial copy, I can copy certain amount of data. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, right. So, okay, so I would suggest maybe if you like to sign up, you sign up into Unlimited Edition, just to experience, just to see the options, the sandboxes and so, right, so and so, and try to create. I haven't created like this, okay, but let me try. Okay, there's a limit. HL test one created from, right, the sandbox. Creating a developer sandbox, really? Okay, yeah, because it's only allowed here. No other sandbox type you can create, right? So I go next. Okay, leave it. Okay, I think it's created. It is in queue, the status. I think it takes few minutes to. Okay. Okay, not sure. Maybe it's sometimes later if you see if it's created, then I'll show you how to log in and those things. Okay, never mind. I would share you the notes for development. I mean, sandbox topic. Okay. Yeah. Kind of detailed notes, right? Not of okay, it is just a generic category: production, developer, and testing. In general, there are 3 types of environment. Okay, and the production is the instance of Salesforce Lightning platform. It's a live environment where data needed to run the business logic is stored. Confusing. It's a different nodes. Okay, wait. Yeah, it's a live environment where live data is stored. The production are where the customers are engaged, and developer environment is basically is an instance of uh, production org, isn't it? It's an instance of production org. Okay, it is used to extend, enhance the application. You like to modify the application. You like to add new application, right? Without affecting the production environment, right? That's the purpose, right? You don't want to disturb the production org, isn't it? You don't want to disturb the production org by adding new features directly. So that's the purpose of developer org or developer environment. That's the use of sandbox. Correct? No? Okay. The sandbox are nothing but the instance of production org which contains which can contain, right, which may contain the production metadata or production data, both metadata or metadata plus data. I told you, right? The Sandbox Pro or full copy can have metadata plus data also. It is an independent copy of production org, isn't it? Because it will not have any impact. If you do any changes in Sandbox, that will not have an impact on production unless you migrate it, unless you deploy the changes, right? Unless you move the changes from Sandbox to production, right? It's an independent copy. It is used for many different purposes: development, testing, or training activities. Okay, it is created from production, right? That is what we have seen, right? It is created from production. I think it's a tile version. It's pending. Okay, so there are 4 types, and there are different reasons we can use sandboxes. It's an instance of production org. Okay, and then I mean developer. The first type we are describing here. Okay, and there are 200 MB of file size available. How many times you can take the refresh? What is refresh actually? Copy the production metadata
Sir,
to sandbox.
refreshing the sandboxes means like creating a sandbox.
No. After created, you like to refresh. You
After
like to sync. Yeah, you like to sync it. Yeah. So developer flow again. It's a instance of a production org, and you can use it for different purpose. Again, the data storage. Okay, so this is in text notes actually, but in Salesforce help, it's given in the form of table. So I would suggest go through this site also. Okay. I'll move on to object. Okay, object. So once we seen certain basics of objects, I'll tell you the plan. Okay, we'll see uh, how to create objects, of course. Okay, how to create objects. Then let me see how to create a tab. Then how to create application. Okay, then after having this with this knowledge, okay, after gain this knowledge, creating objects, tab, application, we'll have to see how to create field. What is field, right? And what are the standard fields we have, and how to create the custom fields, right? So after fields, then we'll go into get into formula type field, then validation rules, and so on. So okay, so more or less we'll sync with the syllabus. What is being shared with you, the order. Okay, more or less 90%. Okay, sometimes depends upon the example. Sometimes we have to go here and there. That will happen, but mostly we'll stick with the syllabus, the order that is given. Okay, right. Object. There are two types of category, right? Standard, custom. So what is object normally? What do you say? What do you mean by object? Object is a table, right? Object is a table in Salesforce. Objects contains fields and records. Like table contains columns and rows. And there are two categories, standard and custom. Standard is object inbuilt one, right? Inbuilt. Because we are accessing a CRM, right? CRM application, a CRM package. Salesforce platform is a CRM platform, which contains, it's a centralized database. CRM is a centralized database with features. So, which means we already have a common objects to address the basic business need, the basic business purpose. We can manage the basic business. We can manage with the help of standard objects. Okay, what are those standard objects? So the core objective of CRM, right, to address the sales business, right, to use for sales business, and to use it for support business. In otherwise, it's called service, right? Like a help desk for existing customer, you like to support their product, right? Support their help their issues, resolving their issues. Nothing help desk. Sales, right? So what is sales actually? How normally the sales will happen? What type of data you may need in sales business? Before the product, you sell your product, you have to do marketing, right? Marketing, right? Like you might have come across the trade show, isn't it? The webinars, distributing the pamphlets, email marketing, so and so. So for a business, I would like to store that type of data. So where I can store? I can store in a object called campaign. The campaign is a kind of standard object provided by Salesforce to store marketing related data. The marketing projects. Campaign is a term used to define the marketing only, right? Marketing project is nothing but campaign. So the same name, the object is given by Salesforce. So where you can find the field related to store the marketing related data. So what type of field? The name of the campaign, the type of the campaign, when is the start date, when is the end date of the campaign, what is the cost, expenses that we have in the campaign. Like that, you may see different types of field in the standard object called campaign. You get it? I'll show that campaign object, where to refer the field and how to create a campaign record. That we'll see later. You get it? First, we'll see the overview today. What are the standard objects available? What is the basic purpose of that object? The reason why they're given. The reason why it is part of Salesforce platform. You get it? So knowing that reason, knowing that purpose, as an administrator, you can better work with that object. Suppose you are going to work on a project. Okay, you're creating some project, you're creating some application, right? The business says, as an administrator, they inform, they need you to create, you need to store a marketing related data. Okay, you get it? Suppose the requirement is to store the marketing related data. So the business people doesn't know whether there is a standard object called campaign. They just wanted to store the marketing data. Should we create a new object for that? Should we create a new object for that? No, right? Because the object is already inbuilt.
Standard
It's already there. So it is very important as administrator knowing about, what are the objects available. Not every objects. There are 300 plus objects available, but not all objects we are going to use it for business directly, right? There are certain objects you interact directly. One such objects is not frequently accessible, but this is something like, an important object. A campaign is a standard object used to store marketing project data. Okay, like next, lead. By name, you might be able to guess, right? What is the purpose of object? What is the purpose of object?
to store the data.
Okay, it is to store you get it? A prospect. In other words, we called as prospect. Okay, suppose there is a campaign. Okay, there is a campaign, say a car, electric car company. Okay, they conduct a trade show. They conduct a trade show in a mall, right? You come across, right, such type of scenario, right? In a mall, they display electric cars, then we go inquire, right? We inquire about the price and the features, right? Then they collect your name, they collect your contact details. So then who are you to them? Who are you to them? You are a lead to them. You are considered as a lead, right? Suppose I visit a mall, there is a trade show, then I just go and inquire about the product, that particular car, the models, features, then I fill up a form with my name, okay, with my name, the company that I belongs to. Sometimes I would be individual customer, sometimes I would be a dealer. I would go and visit, okay. I would like to take the dealership, then I would say my name and I belong to this particular company, the my phone numbers and my address, email, so on so. I share all the details, okay. And if it is a company, then what type of company, what type of industry my company is, right? And what type of what is the annual revenue of my company. Of course, I will also give certain details about my company. The details can be many. Sometimes details can just be a name, phone number. You get it? So there's nothing but lead. So you'll find all those necessary field in this standard object called lead. So the purpose, right? These are very common purpose in a sales business. So these two objects are part of CRM platform, Salesforce CRM platform. Okay. So I'll introduce some more objects now. So far is clear, right, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, an important object, account. So what is this object? This object is used to store customer details. Customers can be an individual, or a customer can be a company, isn't it? Suppose I inquire about the electric car, as I mentioned, I can be from a dealers, which means I am again can be a customer in future for that company if I signed up the dealership. But when I signed up the dealership, I am the customer for them, right? So customer, in case if I signed up, if I'm the dealer, I am the company type, business type customer. Okay. So the account is basically to store the customer details such as company name, right? The type of the company, the industry, all the details about the company. It's a customer only, but it's a business type. Okay. So account can be a two type basically. By default, it's a business type. What you're seeing in the Salesforce are is a business type customer, like a name of the company, the industry, annual revenue. They are again customer only. You get the point, guys? Get the point?
Yes.
Okay. Now, in each below the business, you may have a person to contact, isn't it? A business, I told the business electric car company, we name it something, okay? We name it like Hippologic cars, okay? Hippologic e-cars, example. So, so this company, selling the electric cars, and they have customers, business customers, and they would reach out as some point of contact in this customer, right? In this business, am I right? For example, there is a dealership called ABC Dealers. right? In these dealers, there will be some salesperson, there will be some finance person. They're all employee of this company, isn't it? But they also a customer for them, isn't it? So they have to reach for dealing the sales, right? Suppose I sell 100 cars to them, then someone I need to interact with them, right? So those details also I need to store, isn't it? Not just a company to whom you are making your business, to whom you are connecting every day, isn't it? To whom you are making transaction. So those details will store it into a object called contact. So contact is nothing but to store the employees of the company, means account. You get the point? Is it clear?
Yes.
Such as name, phone number, isn't it? Address, email, like this. So, and an account can have more than one contact. Am I right? Because to the same customer, I may have multiple contacts, right? HR person, finance department, I would like to try make a transaction, sales department, marketing, legal department, isn't it? As a business, I would have connect with my customers to multiple contacts. So that will be a relationship. One, it's a parent child table, child object. You get the point? Clear?
Yes, sir.
So
Okay. And we have an object, very important object called opportunity. Opportunity. What it is? To store the sales deals, sales deal, sales deals, or sales deal. Okay. What is sales deal? Um, a quick example. Okay. Suppose ABC dealership approaching Hippologic e-cars. ABC dealership, they are already a customer. They are already a customer, and they needs um, a new model quotation. The new model cars they need. Suppose the dealership says, what is the pricing for example, ABC dealership is dealing with different types of branding, not just one branding, not just Hippologic cars. They are dealing with multiple, uh, okay, uh, multiple branding. Okay, in that case, they like to get a quotation of new car. So then the Hippologic will give a quotation for them. Quotation in the sense, suppose they say we need a, say a 10 electric cars and pricing. What is the best pricing you can offer? Then Hippologic says, altogether, say for example, altogether, say this example, 5 lakhs. Okay, 5 lakhs, no, almost 10. I'm sorry, 5 lakhs, too less, man. 50 lakhs for 10 electric cars, they say. 50 lakhs is a budget. Then someone from the dealers, they like to negotiate, right? So that they get good margin, so that dealership will sell the product to the customer and they make good margin, right? Because they have to reduce the price here so that they can make the good margin here in the MRP. What do you say? MRP? Yeah. Okay. So what they are doing now? What they are doing now? Sales deal, negotiating the deal. They are not actually buying the car. They are not actually. It's a kind of stages. They right the salesperson from ABC deal or the customer and the salesperson from Hippologic will have to negotiate the deal, right? So the salesperson from Hippologic, the sales right? Will work with a sales deal, right? With ABC dealer, right? So what is the objective of the sales agent? What is the objective? To win the deal or to lose the deal?
Win the deal.
Win the deal. So the sales agent will work with this ABC dealership and giving a discount and giving some additional benefit so that the sales agent will win the deal. So where these details will be stored, the sales deal, what is the price and what currently which stage, we call them a stage. Initially the stage will be a prospecting, which means ABC dealers just showing interest only. It's like a prospect. They're just showing interest, not buying the product actually. In that case, if the prospecting stage, then okay, they wanted to buy a product, negotiating the price, then finally they agreed. Then I will say, okay, I close the deal, I win the deal. So all this information you can store in the object called opportunity. So opportunity is, you get the purpose, guys, the 4 object purpose.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Lead, account, contact. Okay, you're going to see all these practically later. Okay, it's just introduction session. We're going to see these all the objects practically. Okay, we have taken some practical example, right? We can also go with the same example also. I never taken this example. I have taken different insurance example, something. So the examples will be different because I experienced in the platform with the different business projects. So I take random example and I would explain it, with details, more details, so that you can understand. Okay, so there are certain examples predefined. There are certain examples we go on this part. So we'll go with this example only. I hope you're good with this example. Okay, we'll go with this example when you get into practical. Right now, there are some more objects available. Okay, we'll see later when you get into practical. There are these are important objects I am coding here. Okay, and in support there is an object called case. You know what is the use of case object? To store the issues. Okay, suppose the customer says they have a issues with the cars. Say the most of the cars are failing with the automatic models are keep failing, frequent issues, where they store that issues, right? The customer call the support team, and the objects, where we can store the details of the issues. So normally this type of objects will have a feel like a subject, what is the status of the issue, right? And priority of the issue, right? Get it? And the reason why it is failed, like that we'll capture the details here. Okay, so this is one important object here. That's it. So after these objects again, use it here in the support process also. Okay, so I just categorize sales and support, but in general all the objects are available in the platform and use it for different purpose. It depends upon our business need. But these are some of the core objects available in standard objects available in Salesforce Lightning platform. You clear? Clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll just make it as object 1, and we'll continue object session much more detail. We'll visit in the org and see it tomorrow.
Sir, opportunity means conversion of leads into customers?
You'll see much more detail, Jansi. Opportunity is nothing, just I take an example, right? Just to store the sales that you are discussing. We are not buying the sales, okay? Suppose you go for a inquiry about the, you are my student already, okay? You are now inquiring about the LWC course. Then I would say certain fees, then is, suppose I am the organization, okay? Then you are from a company. You like to train your candidates to LWC. There are 10 employees. Then you approach my sales team. My sales team will work with you, and every day we call them. We call your company guy. Okay, we give this price and this so and so date it started. It is deal. It's not started. We are just discussing the deal. So what is my salesperson objective? To win that deal. So where that information will be stored in opportunity object. It is a sales deal. We are negotiating the sales, not actually selling any product here. Once the deal is won, suppose you agreed, okay, my 10 employees, yeah, agree with the price, then that became the business.
Okay. So only the negotiation deal will be stored in the opportunity object.
Yes. Sales deal. You call them as, instead of negotiation deal, say it's referred as sales deal.
Okay. So once that deal is finalized and then the customer
Then we
gets
go for
finalized,
purchase. Yeah. Yes.
then it will
We
go
go
to
for
account and the company information is stored in account.
account is already there, ma. You are my customer, no? A customer
Yeah.
will have multiple deals, right?
Yeah.
You are my customer. So below account, opportunity will be there. Below account, contact will be there.
So once the deal is finalized, like where the data will be going?
Finalized, the data will be there only. The opportunity data will be there for all time reference. When you buy a product, that again will be where the data will go. See, which product you buy, that product details will be there in the sales, that opportunity, below opportunity, what products you are negotiating, that will be there. Beyond that, the product delivery, all those things will be there in the opportunity only. The quotation,
Okay.
everything will be connected to the opportunity.
Okay.
Yeah, that example will be given later. Okay, this is a session to introduce the object. So soon, tomorrow, we have to see how to create object, those things. Okay, we have a separate a session to create these things. What is it? Opportunity and all. You see here, there is a session called Sales and Service Cloud. There we'll see a few things practically also. Okay, and now we have to see creating objects and tab and certain these things practically you are going to see. Now introduce the purpose, right? The code, the purpose you remember, keep in mind. Okay, the purpose you revise in the notes. Nothing wrong, you go and create and do play around, but we are going to see practically again down the line also. Okay, right?
Okay.
Okay, then see you tomorrow. I'll upload the notes and videos into Drive. You will get access, and you will get a communication in the from HR for registration thing. Okay.
Okay.
See you then.